Hi, and welcome to the Success Path show where Christian business owners share their tips for success to show you how to succeed more effectively with your kingdom goals. And I have a wonderful guest today, my beautiful friend, Kathleen Seals. And Kathleen is a faith-based entrepreneur who loves to help other heart-centered entrepreneurs grow their businesses through her sales, business, and communications expertise. Because most businesses fail due to lack of sales, she knows just how painful it can be to watch potential client after client walk in and walk out of your door or your phone call, even though you know you can help them. Her mission is to help people like you communicate more effectively with your audience and help you understand the simple patterns of communications, sales, ethical persuasion, so that you can help more people and make a bigger impact on the world and on people's lives. She also happens to be a John Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach at the highest level, which is executive director. She is also a D.I.S.C consultant and trainer and has multiple awards for growing businesses and has gotten individuals to number 2 and number 5 in their company and grown businesses from the low 200K to 500 and even 750K. Amazing job. And she did that within 2 years. So, but the most important part is that she loves helping people, being a mom, wife, and believer in other humans' potentials. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you, Violet. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Yes, I'm really excited about what you have to share because, as you know, this show is for people who want those success tips that are wondering, I tried this, I tried that, I thought it was God telling me to do this project or that project, but I feel like I failed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you have to share with the audience?
So I also have a degree in communications, which I thought was goofy when I started it. And honestly, I started it because probably like most people, you start on your dream, which was my dream was being a music educator. I love teaching and I love music, and I was in music forever. And I changed it because I thought I needed to do the smart thing, the right, like something that's reasonable. And we all do that, don't we? Where we think, oh, well, let me make a more reasonable choice instead of following your dream. So if you're
Mm,
someone like that, I resonate with you 100%. And but I think it was definitely a God move, because when I learned all these communications things, I my degrees in communications, which has a specialty in argumentation and debate, which included persuasion and influence and a whole bunch of different things. And at the time, my professor, he didn't tell us what book he was teaching on. He said, you don't even have to buy the book. I'm just going to teach you, which that was one of my favorite classes. I was like, I don't have to buy a book. Woohoo!
yay!
This is amazing. But he taught, I'm 99.9% sure, Dr. Robert Cialdini's theories of persuasion and influence. And I didn't realize how ingrained all of that became in me.
Mm.
And when I went into the real world, the quote unquote real world, I've used them ever since. And I've just thought, why don't you guys know this? And all of a sudden, I'm realizing in like the last few years, oh, it's because they didn't study it in school. Why should they know it? They shouldn't. And I've been teaching it to people ever since, because when I was managing people, I was helping them learn and grow as salespeople, even though they weren't interested in sales, because the business that I was in was dancing. We were in dance business. So it's not like you think you need to be a salesperson. You think you need to be a dancer, and you're really artistic and creative. And most dancers don't want to sell stuff. So
Mm.
the last decade of my life, I've been helping artistic people understand communication, persuasion in an ethical way, and not feeling like they're manipulating anybody and not feeling like they're taking advantage of anyone. So what I've discovered is there are certain key indicators that can help you communicate your message to somebody else in a really effective way. And that's really what I want to share with your audience today. I hope this serves them very well, all of you very well, because I know once I discovered these tips, and I've ever since then been like so ingrained and so excited about like nerd out on communications and persuasion. But I've gotten even deeper into it, and I've discovered something called D.I.S.C. So that's what I really want to share with you today, so that you can understand the people. Because when I was helping dance teachers teach other people, the hardest part was being able to relate to someone that's the opposite of you. So if you have someone who has the opposite communication style of you, it's really hard. They feel like they're your most difficult person. Sometimes it feels like they're challenging you, or sometimes it feels like they're slow. It depends on who you are. But when you understand these 4 styles of communication, everything changes. And I'm not joking. When I say everything changes, I mean everything. Your relationships with your friends, family, loved ones, your husband, your wife, your kids, your parents, everything changes. Your potential clients, you no longer think, wow, they're so difficult. You just know, oh, that's their natural communication style. It's how they were either raised or just their genetics or whatever went into it. There's several things that go into it, but you just know, oh, that's how they naturally communicate. Okay.
So Kathleen, I know you feel really strongly about the DISC, but there are lots of personality assessments out there.
Let's
And
talk
a
about
lot of
that.
people they like the Colby, they like the Enneagram. So tell me,
And
what's the difference?
that's such a great question. They're all wonderful. Let me say that. They are all fantastic. I mean, who doesn't like taking a personality test? Like, we all love it. It feels good because you get to learn about yourself, right?
Mm,
But some of them are just so complicated that it's really cool to read about yourself and learn about who you are. But it's so hard to tell what someone else is. And when you're in a situation where you need to make a sale or make a connection or network or something like that, you need something that's really quick and easy to understand. And that's the difference with DISC. DISC is the most recent of, I mean, goes back to way, way, way long ago, where there were ancient philosophers who were studying people. There were some that studied earth, water, fire, air, right? And so those were four styles. And then there was the types of mucus, or the types of fluids in your body. So there was like, they're kind of goofy nowadays. We would see them now and you're like, oh, okay. But then there was one that's right before Myers-Briggs, was in the early 1900s. And it's great. I love it. But I also feel when I do that, I'm like, well, I'm a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like, I'm not really sure. I'm either
mm,
an INFJ or an ENFJ, because I'm either introverted or extroverted. So DISC makes it a little more clear, and you can be a couple styles, but it's not like 18 different styles or 32. Like Myers-Briggs, there's 4 letters, but there's 2 possibilities per letter. So it just becomes really hard if you're just meeting someone to identify what they need. So DISC
mm.
just makes it so clear and simple. DISC was developed in 1928, same year my dad was born. And it's the most recent simplified version. Enneagram is very complicated. It's also really great. So there's nothing wrong with any of the other styles. I just find this to be the most simple and the easiest way to communicate with someone right away.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how can people out there implement this, and how can it help them to reach their kingdom goals, or how can this help them to succeed
Yeah,
in
that's a great
business?
question. So I just was working with someone at Loma Linda University, and it's a Seventh-day Adventist university, and in the medical field, they're at the university hospital. So I've been working with them for a couple of years, and they were asking me, you say, I did a kind of debrief with them after the report, and they said, well, I know you said you can identify these people, but how long does it take you to do that? And that's really the question that most people want to know. Like, how long does it take? Does it take me, if you like, do you have to study this for 30 years to identify it? No. After today's session, you're going to know how to identify someone instantly, whether they're more of a D.I.S. or C type personality, or maybe a combination of two, and you'll see which two they are. So here's how you do it. Imagine you are walking into an elevator and you are the type of person. Now, are you the type of person? You could be one of the other. So we're going to do two scenarios. Are you the type of person who, as soon as you walk into the elevator, you press the button of the closed door button and you jam your finger and you're like, no, 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 don't. I hope no one else comes in here, right? Are you that type of person? Or you walk into the elevator and you're the type of person who can't wait for someone else to join you because you can't wait to have the best conversation of your life and you make your new best friend, right? You're one of those two. You could be somewhere in the middle, but sometimes one, sometimes the other. And that's me. I'm a little bit some and sometimes the other, but primarily I'm the first one. I just want to be alone in there. I don't want to meet a new person, but it depends on the circumstance, right? But majority of the time, which one are you? If you are the first one where you're really hoping no one joins you and you don't have to have an awkward conversation, then you probably are a more reserved personality, meaning you don't necessarily want to be around people all the time. Now, you could be the type of person who's on my side, which is a little bit more like, well, I don't know if I want to be in the elevator with anyone ever. Or you might be the type of person who's like some of my best friends who are like, well, if I'm in the elevator, at least I'll be nice to them and I'll talk to them. So we'll talk about those two differences in a minute, but you still may not want them to walk in. Now, if you're the type of person who really wants to see who's coming and can't wait to have the best conversation, like my husband, can't wait to talk to anybody. He's like everyone's best friend. You might be more extroverted, a little bit more outgoing style personality. And that's number one, is your first indicator. So are you a little bit more reserved or a little bit more outgoing, which is your primary style? Then next, I want to give you another scenario. So you're getting ready for a trip, and you might be the style who makes a list. So when I was in college, I used to make a list of all the things that I needed to pack from my head to my toe. My hairbrush, my shampoo, my conditioner, everything. Okay, head down to my shoulders. I would make these crazy lists of all the things I needed to bring with me just so I didn't forget anything. Or you might be the type of person who's getting ready for a vacation and they're thinking, or a trip, and you're thinking about all the fun things you're going to do and the people you're going to meet and the experiences that you're going to have. Those are two different styles. So one is more task-based and one is more people-based. So those are the other two styles. And so when we divide these up, we have the top half of DISC. I mean, if you would imagine a quadrant, and on the top left is the D, and that's your outgoing task-based person. Your outgoing task-based person is a driver style personality. They will talk to people, but with a purpose. And then they always have like a motivation behind them. They're very driven. They love to be in charge because they don't want to be taken advantage of. They want to make sure that they are putting themselves out there so that no one can be leeching off of them or bossing them around or doing something that might make them feel taken advantage of, because they're very generous humans, but they know that people can read it the wrong way. They can read it as weakness. So those are your D styles. Do you know someone like that,
I
Violet?
probably like that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, I used to walk into a room and I can remember almost every room I've walked into, Girl Scouts. I walked in, I'm like, how do I become the troop leader? How do I become the band director? How do I become the boss? Like, I can't walk into a room without thinking like, okay, that person standing up there, how do I get to be you? I want to be in charge all the time.
Awesome.
And that's your D style personalities. They may try and drive your car for you because
Okay, I'm not that. I'll let someone else drive.
maybe not. They like, all right, I'm going to take charge. They get really frustrated if someone else is in charge because they want to, they're like, come on, get with the program. Like, let's do this. And they're only 3% of the population. They're not a lot of people who are Ds. And God did this as a blessing to the rest of us, to the rest of you, because you don't need more of us. Trust me. I got called bossy as a kid. I can't even tell you how many times.
Oh, but
Because
there's a place for the D's.
absolutely, absolutely. They keep things running. They make things go. And they can often be misread as aggressive or over assertive because they know what they want. And they're big picture thinkers. They are visionaries. They know more. They see more than the rest of us do. See things more and before than most people. And they're good readers of personalities oftentimes. And they're not always trusting, and they want things to go faster than they do. They want things to happen right now. They don't want to know details. So if you are talking to a D, and this is super important, so listen in. If you are talking to this style of personality, they just want to know the result. What are you going to get them? They don't
Amen.
want to know the details. They don't care. They glaze over. As soon as you start going into details, they glaze over. Their eyes just like, they're like, all right, I'm done. And if you seem uncertain, if you seem unsure of yourself, they no longer will trust you. They need to feel your certainty and your confidence. They really do.
So Kathleen, will you be able to go over the rest of the
Yeah.
I.S.C. because we only have a couple of minutes left?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really simple. So I's are more of your extroverted, outgoing, fun style personality. They love people. They walk into a room, everybody knows them. They're like, oh, so-and-so. My husband's Jonathan. They just love him. They wear bright colors oftentimes. They're very gregarious, if you're familiar with the word, but they're just the fun personalities, right? And they're people. They want to know how fun is the experience going to be. The reason I focused on D's though is because they tend to be in charge of a lot of stuff and they tend to spend money on things easily. I's also will do so. They just need to know, is the experience going to be fun for me? Am I going to enjoy the experience? That's really what their focus is. How is this going to be for me? Are we going to have fun? Then the S's are, so the I's are only 11% of the population. S's are 69% of the population. So it's most people are S's.
Really?
And they tend to be very supportive and loving, caring. They care about teamwork. They want to know, are they part of a group? So if you're talking to an S, make sure that you make them feel like they're part of a group. They're part of the team. They're supported. I'm going to be there for you the whole time through. They want to know that. And they're a little bit slower to make decisions. They don't want to make a quick decision. The D's and I's will make a fast decision based on how they feel about the person. The S's and C's tend to take some time. And they will make decisions a little bit differently. The S's want to make sure that they feel supported and that they know that they're going to be part of a team, that they're going to be part of a group. They don't want to do it alone, and they don't want to make it fast. They want to make a slower choice. So you have to give them a little extra time and more touch points. And then the C's are your cautious, very careful people. They want to be they're perfectionists. They like to know all the details. They want to know, are you an expert? Why am I doing this? Like, what is it for? Like, they're similar to the D's in that aspect, but they're also more quiet. They're not necessarily, they don't want to be the life of the party. They don't want to be status based. They don't really care about status in the sense like, I want to look cool. They care about status in the sense that this will give me another ranking or another whatever, a certification or degree, things like that. They care about that kind of status. Like wearing a lab coat helps a C make a choice, not necessarily a D. D wants to know, am I going to look cool?
So if you want to sell to a C, wear a lab coat.
Yeah, they really care about that. And you know what the funny thing is I've been listening to Dr. Cialdini's book again, and I've been thinking about how DISC intertwines with all of these different principles of persuasion. And it's just so easy to see, oh, this is where certain people, and when some people, like there's like 93% of people who move in one direction, and the tiny percent that don't, I know it's the D's and the I's. I know they're not moving in that direction because they don't care. They don't care about the things that other people care about. But so yeah, if you want to sell to a C, give them details, let them know you're an expert, make sure that they understand that they are going to learn some new knowledge that will help them become better. They're constantly in search of becoming better. They're constantly in search of becoming better. They're going to take a long time to get things done, but they will get it done perfectly. They need deadlines. S's will get things done in an easy way. They may not do it the best way, but they'll get it done as well. The I's and the D's, do not give them tasks. They're not task people. They're like, they will just be off on journeys everywhere, squirrel.
So that's DISC for you. It wrapped up very briefly, but if you have questions about DISC, please reach out to Kathleen, because this is really important about how to be able to reach those people. Because, if they feel understood, then they'll be more likely to say, hey, let me jump into what you have because you do understand me. So
absolutely.
That is super awesome. But I wanted to talk about your success stories and how you overcame any obstacles, because like I said, some people out there, they've tried and tried and tried, and they think they've tried everything. How can they overcome some obstacles or some hurdles of owning a Christian business?
That's a really good question. One of the things is clarity, really understanding your strengths and understanding who you are, because as a CD, I constantly battle my limiting belief that I'm not enough, that I don't have enough degrees, I don't have enough certifications, I don't have enough this, I don't do enough this. And who am I to teach someone something? Well, I may as well just refer them to somebody else because I'm not good enough. I learned it from someone else, so I'm not enough to teach it. And that's hard. So really getting a really deep understanding of who you are in DISC helped me greatly to just accept, okay, that's where I came from, but that's not where I have to go. I can be confident. I do know that there are people out there that will listen and that want to hear my message, even though I feel like, I've gotten numerous awards and helped tons of people get to like top 20 and beyond in the company. And I still feel like, well, who am I to teach anybody anything? And so as a C, it's really hard, but all of us have our setbacks in our personality styles, and understanding yourself is number one. Understanding who you really are to your core. And you don't necessarily need to understand why all of those things are there. That's a whole nother decades of study if you really want to go deep into why you are the way you are. But if you just understand who you are, you can at least accept it and say, okay, that's who I am, and move forward. And I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with because we don't know who we are. When I started my entrepreneurial journey, because I've always been in business, I love business, but I was always working for someone else. And when I finally started my entrepreneurial journey, I really started digging deep into personal growth and understanding who I am and what I needed to do to overcome some of the hurdles that I might have. And that truly changed things for me because I was able to take more action and just say, oh, okay, that's who I am. And I'm just going to move past that. That doesn't have to be who I will be. It's who I was.
Oh, that's
That makes sense.
awesome. Yeah, understanding yourself and accepting yourself because, God made you a certain way and you've got to use your strengths.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he put people in your life for a reason. He gave you gifts for a reason. And there is always, so here's what I want to say to some of you out there. I want to say to all of you, there is a voice for everyone. There is a
Mm.
voice for everyone. And one of my biggest struggles was I either thought I wasn't enough. Oh, I always thought I wasn't enough, but it was either because I didn't go through enough trauma or I didn't have a hard enough
Mm.
childhood. So I couldn't relate to people, just like all the big names like Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, right? Like they all went through these horrible struggles as a child. I didn't have that. I had a great home. My parents were awesome and they're still married to this day. And my dad's 93. So like I didn't go through that. So I felt like, who am I going to relate to? No one's going to listen to me. They're not going to want to hear my voice. I don't have a hard knock story. Whatever your story is, someone will relate to it. Know that God gave you a vision for a reason. And as soon as He plants that vision inside of you, He also plants an equivalent seed of interest in the people who are going to come to you. They are working on their way to you. So by giving up, it's the only way that you can fail is giving up. It's not easy. Find a community, find some people who can surround you and love you through the hard stuff and the good stuff. But those people are working their way to you. It's just maybe not at the speed you think it should be. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. How long does it take for it to come out and actually finally find the sun? But it's been getting sunlight and it's been getting water and it's been getting nourished. And that's what's in these people's hearts. That seed is in their hearts, being planted and nourished day after day. Maybe not by you, but the idea, the vision that they have, it's bringing them closer and closer to you every single day. So imagine if the sun just stopped shining one day. No plants will grow anymore. And that's what happens when we give up on our dreams.
I love that. So, encouragement from Kathleen. Keep going because those people are coming to you.
They're on their
And
way.
Kathleen,
They're
I
on
want
their
to make sure that we let people know how they can reach you. You are
way.
on a whole bunch of social media platforms, and we're going to put all the information down there so they can find you. But you're mainly on Instagram. And
Mostly, yeah.
you're mostly on Instagram, and the hashtag. I mean the where you can find her is purelight_KS.
Correct.
And we'll put
Yeah.
that information down in the description. And can you let us know about the offer that you have for the audience?
Oh, for sure. So I do a weekly webinar on Thursdays for people who are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business people, anyone who wants to close more clients, help people enroll in what you have. If you are looking to bring people on board, if you're looking to make revenue, make money, and make an impact, of course, that's the biggest part. And you see clients walk in the door and out the door and you don't know why you're having like discovery calls. Maybe you're a coach, you have lots of discovery calls and you can't figure out why they're not enrolling. I have a system, a 7-step system that will help you. It's super simple and it's proven. I've used it over the last 15 years, at least, maybe even longer. And It's just so simple and it works, and it helps open the door for communication. It helps build trust with you and your potential client. And even if they don't become a client, they will become a referral partner, they will become a friend, and they may become a client in the future. You just
I
never know,
love
but they will
that.
always have the door open for communication because they trust you and love you.
I love that. What more could you want? And the link for that is also going to be in the descriptions. It's
Mhm.
life lessons with Kathleen.com/registration hyphen page. And yeah, we got to wrap up. So thank you for being here. If you want more success tips and more ways for you to succeed with your kingdom goals, please subscribe below, hit that subscribe button, and
Do
press
it.
like on this episode because Kathleen is just amazing. I know this was just like a teensy weensy part of what she
Yeah.
has to offer. So thank you so much for being here. We
Thank
love
you,
you.
Violet.
And
Pleasure.
yes, and God bless everybody. See you on the next episode.